Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to the Not the Droids podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Mayuri, and today we are talking about episode 10 from season 1 of Andor. We're really getting through it. The title of this one is One Way Out. Just the one way.
Just the one.
When did it release?
This one released on November 9th, 2022.
This was the episode.
Locked in.
I mean,
Locked
I feel like
in.
we've been locked
We
in for
had,
a
but this was
few.
one where I was so locked in, I was not taking notes. Locked in.
Yeah, I mean, so I was watching this on my phone while I was taking the bus home. I got scared. I had to pause because I was like, wait, I don't want to miss my stop. And so I had to wait. And then I just watched it. I literally stood outside. I was so anxious. I watched the rest of it on my phone before coming in because I was like,
I really
I have like
like that.
2 minutes left. Um, no, it was so good. And I feel like we started right as the last one pretty much ended.
Yeah.
It was so abrupt. Um,
And we had a lot of like little flashes. And it's like some of these flashes are flashes that like they don't actually tell you anything outside of like informing you of what's happening in that place. But it's just like there's
yeah.
no actual like dialogue that's to follow. It's just like this, hey, let's jump back to like Ferrex. Here you see some things. Okay, we're back over here. This person's still hanging out there. Like it's just like, hey, location update of these characters.
Yeah, I mean, we get a little bit of dialogue in different places, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, Andy Serkis was everything in this episode.
Everything.
Legitimately everything in this episode. Um Perfection. From I just like the prison breakout was perfection, start to finish. Um Even just like when they walk when they're fighting with each other before they go into the dormitory,
Mm-hmm.
the cells. I shouldn't have called it dormitory, but
It's
to the
dormant
point,
adjacent.
to the point where he was like, "We have to plan it," and Anders like, "We have been planning this. Tomorrow is the last chance."
Yeah.
Because they know because um Olaf died, they needed someone
Yeah.
new.
That
So they're like, someone new is coming. I think they have been planning it for when Olaf leaves, not thinking he was gonna die. So
yeah,
like
I think they
technically,
were because he was the closest person to be released next.
yeah. So like that's why I think like you see the moment when he is going at it with the file and he's not having enough time.
Yeah.
Because I think they thought they could do it slowly over the
Yeah.
course of 40
And it now
days.
makes sense that it is plumbing. It
Yes.
is not.
Well, because it's the bathroom. We should have thought of that. It's
I
not like
like
an
when you were like
electrical
telling me, I'm like,
conduit.
I don't feel like that's right because they wouldn't have made it so easily accessible. And then I was like, water, they're shorting out the floor. Like as soon
I
as I
didn't
saw
even
the
think
water
of
trickle, I was
that.
like, they're shorting out the floor.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that until I even was thinking, I was like, will water make it so that they don't get electrocuted? I didn't even think that they were
No,
shorting out the
water would have
floor.
caused them to probably be electrocuted. That's why
I
they
know,
had
that's why
called
I was like,
around.
that doesn't make any sense. I just like completely missed that. But it was a really well thought out plan,
Yes.
to be honest. And I
However, there were a lot of bodies dropping with this plan.
so many people
Like I feel
died.
only like certain people really knew the full plan and the rest were just like a free for all,
Yeah.
but it was
I
rough.
just
Because I feel like we should have been able to get rid of two guards a little easier.
I mean,
We had pipes to throw at them. Like we just needed one good hit.
they had guns. I just
True.
it wasn't just pipes, it was those round things. And
Yeah.
I can see like if they've been in that room, they don't really have accurate aim. And the only thing is they're all able-bodied. So I
Yeah.
was just like, why
Well, that's
is
what I literally wrote. I bet I bet the jailers are regretting making sure they all had the proper nutrients this whole
nutrition?
time. Because if you thought if these were half starved inmates, They wouldn't
No.
have been able to climb like that. Like, but no, they were fully like, we got all our nutrients. They keep us healthy. Like, we're fully able-bodied.
Yeah. But it was interesting, like when they were waiting, how they were showing how like certain inmates were nervous. I was scared that it was going to give them away.
Hmm.
Honestly, the moment that Cassian showed up completely soaking wet,
I was waiting for that. And then, like, Cassian is not sleuthy. Like, he's like looking directly. I'm like, dude, have we not learned anything? You
we've
look
already
so
learned
sus.
he cannot hold it in.
No.
That's why I'm like, I am so excited to see Time Jump Cassian in season 2
To learn if
because
he
I'm
has
just
has
like,
learned not to be so sus.
seriously, I was like, when did this train wreck get better at spying? Like,
Yeah.
so the one thing is, I didn't even consider where they were like, they need us to make whatever it is that we're making. Are they making parts for the Death Star, do you think?
They're making parts for something.
Because I was just like, they're making the same part over and over again. I wonder if it's part of the framework of ships. And I
Possibly.
wonder,
I bet like every floor is making a different piece.
no, but every room, even. Because so,
That's what,
like, the
yeah.
way,
Every room essentially has a different part of the pattern. And so they like, they only, like, if it was a car, they make the wheel, only the wheel. Someone else makes the steering wheel, like, it's just one
but that's
part.
why, because, like, the part that they're making is kind of a star shape.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was just like, that would make sense if the
like a
thing that they're
cog,
making is spherical.
possibly. Or they're just making a lot of ships.
Or they're just making ships and cogs and stuff. But, like, it is I didn't consider it before that they were just cheap labor, cheaper than droids,
Hmm.
and they were just making the parts so that the Empire could build things faster and
Yeah.
cheaper. Because there are multiple prisons on this planet in the water.
Yes.
And so that's where I was wondering where that other guy came from. I think they're cycling, and that's where he was just like, they're just going to send us to another prison. And
Hmm.
that's I wasn't getting that that was the mistake that they made. That instead of sending the guy to a different prison,
They
they
moved her to a
sent him
different
back.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah, which is wild.
So,
I don't
uh,
know. There were just like so many things. Like you can't even talk about it because like honestly, it's all pieces of a whole, right?
it
Like they're
is.
all running around shooting people.
Hmm. And this is
Oh
like
my god.
happening through the whole episode. And we just get glimpses of other things. Like for the most part, we're with the prison, but like we jump to Ferrex, we see Cinta, we see people walking, talking about their medications.
So they say not their medications, they're talking about Marva.
Yeah.
So Marva has now stopped taking her medication because I think she doesn't like it's making her foggy. I don't know exactly what they said, but I think that's what it is. Which Cinta overheard, but
Mhm.
also there's someone else watching them, I think, from ISB,
Yes.
right? So, like, not only is the rebellion watching her, literally the Empire is watching
We
her
we
too
knew
because
the
they all
Empire was
want
watching her
Cassian.
from
Yeah.
last episode.
But
But like that's all we got. It was like barely even 30
no,
seconds.
but like, even like we flashed to Dedra where they're taking the bait for the trap that they set
Hmm.
and stuff like that, which pays off at the end of the episode. But it's literally just like the bureau, like they're just like, oh, this is the storyline, how it's happening here. This is the Ferric storyline, what's happening during the prison break. And then even just like
We jumped to
the
the senator.
yeah, and she's meeting with that guy.
Yes.
And did I did not expect, I was shooketh, Danny. Did he so we know that the senator got betrothed, like married when she was 15,
Hmm.
which means she must have been betrothed earlier. So that's where they're like bringing in their customs where they get betrothed and married early, I
Hmm.
think. And so that's where her daughter is coming in. They want her daughters to marry the gangster's son in exchange for the 400,000.
Ah, huh.
And I was just like, I mean, I respect for her. her for being like, get out.
Yeah.
But like, it's pretty clear that this is her only option to avoid detection from the Empire.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is where she brings her daughter in as like, this is your choice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'll be curious to see. But then we're pretty much back
It's
with
just like back at the that's why I'm
we're
like
with
a
the
lot,
prison till almost the end. Well, till the end.
but this is what, sorry, this is where a lot happened in this episode, but there's not really a lot to deep dive and like discuss because legitimately they were just running around like crazy.
Hmm.
I did enjoy the moment where Cassian put Andy Serkis, his character's
Kino,
name,
Kino Loy.
Kino. He put him on the mic and was like, "It has to be you that talks
Mhm.
to everybody because everybody knows you."
Yeah, you've been doing
Um,
this for weeks. We do learn that, well, which we should have assumed, the whole prison is all hydrogenerated. So
which
when they
makes sense with the
and
water,
they say if we take it down, it'll be months before it's back up.
which is great.
And then our friend Kino freezes, and Cassian's like, "You got to do something better."
Which I love for Cassian because he was like,
Mhm.
"Come on, man!
He's
Like
like
we're trying
creative.
to raise a rebellion
Yeah.
in the prison." But I really do love the moment. And then, but it like they all get to the hatch, the one way out. First of all,
Here,
I
hold
thought
on. I
this
got
was
some words for you.
what?
You see someone who is confused, someone who is lost. You get them moving and you keep them moving until we put this place behind us.
That was beautiful.
It was. That's why I
And
wrote it
that's,
all down. I'm like,
I mean, that was great, right? Like that's the spirit of like a rebellion.
mm-hmm.
Like we
It's like a
have to
rebellion, but
do,
still helping each other and not all one man, like not all man for
though
himself.
I don't know that we got that because we saw a bunch of people fall and people just kept going. Um
Y- Yes, but still. The
they'll
sentiment.
get back up.
They
The
were
sentiment is
trying.
there. But the one thing that was sad is that they got to the end. And first of all, I thought this was like an Azkaban situation where it was like deep in the water. I was like, these people are just gonna jump and then swim to shore. Like, how far is shore? That they're just swimming to shore.
Only way out.
Um, but this is where it is his thing is sad because he's been saying there's only one way out this whole time. He knew that he can't swim.
Yeah.
And Cassian, who was gonna stay and help him,
Cassian would have
figure it
totally
out.
made sure he got there, but then the other
But
people
he
just
got
like pushed him.
swept with the other inmates.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh no, does
So
that
I want to know what
mean
happens to Kino.
what happens to Kino? Um, and like I said, I was just like, are they all gonna make it to shore? Like, I don't get it. But they do. They do indeed.
They do, but we only see Cassian and the one other guy.
Yeah. Um, but this is where the big interesting part happens. I
Ron
did
Weasley.
not. Huh?
Ron Weasley.
Is that what you've been calling
I
him?
couldn't remember his name at first, and to make a mental note, I was like, Ron Weasley at the ministry enters the elevator. His name's Lonnie.
Lonnie. I did not expect there to be a mole in the ISB. ISD? Whatever it is. I shouldn't have been surprised. I like how they set it up where they're like, that is who she was checking the brick for. Him. To see if he wanted to set up a meeting.
Hmm.
We all just assumed it was for someone else, but it was for him. Um, which is a clever system because they don't really communicate at all. Um, I don't know. Have a lot of feels about this scene where they it's been a year since he's made in contact, but it seems very much that they put him in there. So he's been working there for 6 years.
They specifically said, we groomed you for this.
Yeah. So, and they gave him information to help him rise in the ranks. And the fact that he hasn't like contacted them in a year, I was like, dang, guys, just like backburnering him, like just
Yeah.
waiting for a year. But I will say that they're not wrong. Like, that's probably what let him rise so fast because he was surpassing all suspicion, right? Like, nothing he knew made it out. But this is where he is endangering himself, and I don't get it. I'm like, he wants out, so he's trying to offer them information that only he knows. And it's very much like, you're gonna out yourself to the Empire, dude.
Yeah.
But how did you enjoy Luthen's speech?
My mom said it sounds like he's in the mafia.
What am I giving up? Everything. I was like, I mean, it was an asinine question that guy asked. Like, I'm giving all of this stuff up. What are you giving up? And I'm like, excuse me, sir. Like, what a ridiculous question.
And part of it also feels like he's playing chess, but like not like in the game. He is moving the pieces. So I can see at the same time where I'm like, he's not as at risk because he's kept himself hidden from so many people.
Yeah.
And he's just moving the pieces and no one knows when it's him and when it's not.
Well,
Instead of
so
like
even,
being indirect because they're like they got the ship and like he's like, we're not gonna warn them because then they'll know there's a mole. And he's like, you're gonna
yeah,
let 50 people on the ship just die.
die.
Like,
Just die.
cut back the numbers. Like,
Well, I love the guilt trip there. He was like, him and his men are all gonna die to protect you.
yep.
So you have to. But here, did I hear something? Who was he talking to when he said that that heist was not them? I definitely heard it in this episode somewhere that someone asked if the heist was them, and he's like, no, I think it was in this whole
Oh, yeah,
speech.
there was like, he was like, we were asked to be part of it, but stayed out of it.
Yeah, because it wasn't organized, which kind of gives them a layer of separation if Andor gets captured.
Yeah.
But
And maybe the heist was in reference to the pilot that was caught.
no, I don't think
Mm.
so. I think they're talking about the heist.
But he was part of it.
No, but that's what I mean. I think he's lying so that
Yeah,
people
and
don't
but he's also
get
told we've already seen him tell the senator, and he's like, that wasn't me.
Mothma. Yeah, he's like, that wasn't
I
us.
think he's just straight up denying anytime someone asks him about it. He's like, no, like they asked us to, but I wasn't touching that one. It's all a lie. He's moving a lot of parts and playing a game.
That's what I mean. Is it's just like he said that he's been in it for 15 years. So for
Hmm.
15 years, he's been slowly building a unified rebellion,
Yeah.
which is just like so. I'm just like waiting for the moment that him and Cassian meet up again. And I hope it happens in the next episode. I did
There's only
wish we
two
got
left.
more of Ferrix because I want to know what's going on with Bix. I just like want someone to rescue her, but that's where I'm just like maybe Cinta, who is hearing all this talk with Marva, is going to go talk to her
Yeah.
somehow, and she's going to tell her about the tunnels. I don't know if she knows that Bix is there.
No, but I'm not on this theory about telling Marva about the tunnels. I'm not there yet.
I'm in it. I'm just like
I'm
Marva in the tunnels is gonna get Bix out. That's how they're gonna do
and we
it.
did not get a Bix update in this one.
Nothing. We got no mention of Bix. None.
Nada.
Kind of like I hope. Mm, I did see the title of the next episode,
Mm-hmm.
so I think we're gonna get that whole situation. Um, in the next episode. And I think the final one is maybe when Cassian reunites with everybody somehow.
Yeah, I think that's coming, but I don't know if it's happening next episode or the last one.
I think the last one. I think the next
Yeah, I think the
episode
last
is
one,
going to be all
everyone,
Ferrix.
yeah, I think the last one will be all of them getting together. The Empire still has not realized they had him the whole time, and now he's
Seriously,
gone
I
again.
wonder if that's going to happen in the next episode where
Yeah,
they're going to talk about the prison break. ISB has to talk about the prison break.
yeah.
Also, how are all of those inmates going to get off the planet?
And not caught because they're all wearing the same things and have no shoes, so it's very obvious who the prisoners are.
That's why I'm
Unless they find some like loyalists, because they're not all rebels.
no.
So
That's why I'm just like, I don't know. This is so confusing now. But I think I wonder if the next episode is going to kind of be the reverse of this, of what everybody else is doing, and then flashes of Cassian trying to get off that planet and back to
I think
his
he's gonna,
mummy.
I think he's gonna get off the planet pretty easily. I don't think we're gonna spend an episode of him trying to get off. I think we're gonna see him connect with someone pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He has contacts and he has people that are looking for him, so
Yeah, but not in a good way.
not in a
There
good way, but in an enough way to be like, hey, I now have some information for you.
You know what was so kind of great though? Who we didn't get in this episode at all? Whiny baby Cyril
We did not have any Cyril updates. We did not have any creepy flirtation.
with Dedra.
We didn't get Dedra really. Like,
We got her for a hot second.
yeah, like
So that's where I'm just like, I wonder if they're going to go back to that story. And I wonder if they're going to figure out that they had Cassian and
the-
lost him.
yeah.
And I'm just laughing that they're like so furiously looking for him and he's been in prison
He's been in
this
their custody
entire
the whole
time.
time, building their
Oh,
ships.
yeah, no, I cannot wait. Cannot.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So until next time, we're not the droids they're looking for.
Where the droids are gonna get.
There really